Malaysia is allowing exports of some live chicken to Singapore 2 weeks after the ban was imposed. Shopee will lay off workers in Southeast Asia and South America, blaming an uncertain economy. And the animated film Lightyear, banned in 14 countries, will be screened in Singapore with an NC-16 rating. Good evening, you're watching The Big Story with me, Haryanto Diman. Subscribe to the Straits Times channel so you will not miss a single episode. It seems Malaysia has partially lifted its ban on chicken exports, with at least one major poultry producer in Singapore, Kee Song Food, getting back its supply of live Kampung and black chicken. Kee Song yesterday announcing the news with this TikTok video that it will sell these two chicken varieties from tomorrow. And speaking to the Straits Times this morning, its head of business development says it's already taking orders. It's not yet clear how far the partial lifting of the ban will help Singapore's overall chicken supply though, since chicken rice hawkers and wet market poultry sellers here mainly sell broiler chicken. With more is journalist Melissa Heng. Melissa, do you know why Malaysia has allowed Kampung and black chicken to be exported?
Okay, so for Kampung chicken and black chicken, these are considered more premium varieties of chicken. They're typically smaller in size and more expensive than broiler chicken, which is what Singapore gets a bulk of from Malaysia. So broiler chicken is more affordable and they are larger in size. So that is still not available to us. That's still under the ban at the moment.
So how significant then is this partial lifting of the ban to restoring the chicken supply here in Singapore?
Right, so Kampung chicken and black chicken, like I said before, it only makes up a portion of the chicken that Singapore gets from Malaysia. For example, Kee Song Food, which is a major importer of chicken here, Kampung chicken makes up about 25 to 30% of the entire chicken supply that they bring in, and black chicken only makes up about 3 to 5%. So the bulk of what they bring in from Malaysia is still broiler chicken. And you know, your chicken rice stalls, your chicken wet market sellers, they usually typically sell broiler chicken. Yeah, so but it's still a good thing that Kampung chicken that we can bring Kampung chicken in. So that hopefully like these smaller businesses in Singapore still have something to sell to customers.
And given these developments, Melissa, could we expect the ban to be fully lifted soon?
We can't really determine that at this moment. It really depends on the Malaysian government. The reason that Malaysia put this ban in place at the start of the month is because they are short of chicken. You know, they have to stabilize their supply, they have to stabilize their market, I think, before they can make any major moves to lift the ban. So chicken isn't something that you can make overnight. It does take time for the chicken to grow. So I think only time will tell.
Melissa, thank you for the insights. Journalist Melissa Heng. Disney-Pixar's newest film, Lightyear, banned in several countries over same-sex kiss, will be screened in Singapore with a no children under 16 rating. Now, it will be the first children's animation film here to be given the NC-16 rating for LGBTQ+ content. According to the Infocomm Media Development Authority, depictions of a female lead character and her partner starting a family and sharing a kiss warrants a higher rating because Singapore is a diverse society where there are multiple sensibilities and viewpoints. IMDA says it had also sought the views of its advisory committee and parents with young children. The film will not be shown in at least 14 countries, including Malaysia, Indonesia, and the United Arab Emirates, and is also unlikely to open in China. At Lightyear's premiere on Monday, actor Chris Evans and director Angus MacLean spoke about the ban.
Yeah, look, it's great that we're a part of something that's making steps forward in the social inclusion capacity, but it's frustrating that there are still places that aren't where they should be.
To me, sci-fi is always the place where you will see breaking a new ground of representation. That was the kind of sci-fi I grew up on, and I felt it was important in this film to show a future that was a reflection of where we are today.
E-commerce giant Shopee, which is based in Singapore, will be laying off workers in several countries. According to an internal memo seen by the Straits Times, employees in its ShopeeFood and ShopeePay teams in Southeast Asia will be affected by the cuts, but it didn't specify how many and in which countries. It will also lay off part of its teams in Mexico, Argentina and Chile and exit the Spanish market. Shopee Chief Executive Chris Feng says the adjustments are due to elevated uncertainty in the broader economy. Another company headquartered in Singapore also announcing job cuts. Crypto.com says around 260 or 5% of its staff will be let go. And this comes as cryptocurrencies have been hit hard by plunging prices. Other big names in the sector are also slashing jobs or freezing hiring. The COVID-19 pandemic and how Singapore manages it have shown that we are likewise able to prevent the rise of chronic illnesses that come with getting older. Health Minister Ong Ye Kung discusses this preemptive approach during a panel on the future of healthcare at the Indonesia-Singapore Business Forum.
When you age, you just fall sick. And in the case of Singapore, it's not just aging, but age for age, people are actually getting less healthy. You get more chronic illnesses. I think it's just our lifestyle, more sedentary, less exercise, eating better food maybe, and less healthy food. So all this is adding on to our burden. Then came COVID, and as Pak Budi say, you never waste a crisis. And COVID showed us what can be done to help reverse some of this. You cannot control the escalation in terms of aging and sickness, but you can bend the curve. Just as we bend the COVID curve, we need to bend the chronic illness curve. And that is through preventive care. Just look at ourselves. The basic mindset is by the time we fall really sick, we have to go for an operation. It's painful, it's expensive, it's a burden emotionally to our family. And then you start to regret, why don't I eat less char kway teow, eat less laksa, or put less sugar, put less salt in my diet, which was little sacrifices that we could have done, but we will not do it now because we have not seen the price. But every day we do this and lead unhealthy life, we are paying the price later. Or we are incurring a price that we will pay later. So how do we make people do the right things now? COVID showed us how. Because of COVID, people are now taking vaccinations, people are wearing masks, people are reminded through their apps, and there's just so many policies that previously we say cannot be done, but because of COVID, it can be done. In the case of Singapore, one major policy change, other than vaccination and masks, is that the whole GP sector, all our private clinicians, family doctors, become part of the public health system. They are out there attending to patients with COVID, making decisions. Do you rest at home? Do you go to hospital? Do you go to an isolation facility? Do I test you with ART or do I test you with PCR? And they're making all those triaging and medication decisions on the ground as part of our system. Imagine we convert that entire machinery into preventive care. That you and I, who are all healthy, we will see a doctor, just as we see a doctor during COVID. We'll see a doctor and they will make sure we do our health screening. They'll make sure that we practice healthy lifestyle, eating, sleeping, dieting, exercising, doing all those things well. And it will prevent so much pain and expenses later on in life.
Prices of resale condominium units edged up for the 22nd straight month in May, rising by 0.3%. Meanwhile, resale volume climbed by 1.6%, with an estimated 1,572 units changing hands. Given the tight supply and demand from HDB upgraders, property analysts expect condominium resale prices to remain firm this year. Those are our top stories today. Visit straitstimes.com for more news and our YouTube channel for more videos. Subscribe by hitting the red button below. I'm Haryanto Diman. Join us tomorrow for more stories on The Big Story.